There are moments in life that feel like standing in front of a door that's already slightly open. You're just one step away from reaching something you've been chasing your entire life. You can almost feel it in your hands. Almost. But just as you're about to step through, a hand suddenly appears. Not to guide you forward, but to slam that door shut. Not because fate decided so, not because you didn't deserve it, but simply because someone chose to do everything they possibly could to stop you, even if they have to act like a villain, a devil. On the night of July 2nd, 2010, in Johannesburg, South Africa, Ghana was standing right in front of that door, and Luis Suarez was the hand that slammed it shut. But to understand why that moment still echoes in football history, you have to understand the weight of everything surrounding it. The 2010 FIFA World Cup was not just another tournament. It was the first World Cup ever hosted on African soil. That alone made it special, but it was more than just symbolic. It was emotional, it was historical, it was personal for an entire continent. The sound of vuvuzelas wasn't just noise, it was a heartbeat, a constant buzzing reminder that Africa was not just hosting the world, it was demanding to be seen, to be heard, and perhaps to finally belong at the very top of football. And in that story, Ghana became the last hope. They were not the biggest team on paper. They didn't have the richest history or the most decorated squad. But they carried something far heavier: belief. The belief of millions. The belief of a continent. After navigating through the group stage and defeating the United States in a dramatic round of 16 clash, Ghana found themselves in the quarterfinals. Standing between them and history was Uruguay, a nation with deep football roots, two-time World Cup champions, a team that understood what it meant to survive under pressure. But that night, it wasn't about Uruguay's past, Africa's future. The game itself was tense, tight, suffocating. You could feel the weight in every pass, every tackle, every second ticking away. Uruguay struck first through a stunning long-range effort from Diego Forlan. It was the kind of goal that could break a team, but Ghana didn't break. Asamoah Gyan stepped up and equalized from the penalty spot, restoring hope, restoring belief. And suddenly, the dream was alive again. The match dragged into extra time. Minutes felt longer. Every touch of the ball carried history with it. You could sense that something extraordinary, or something heartbreaking, was about to happen. And then came the 120th minute, the kind of moment where football stops being just a game. A free kick was delivered into Uruguay's penalty area. The ball bounced, ricocheted, chaos everywhere. Bodies clashed, players scrambled, time seemed frozen and accelerated at the same time. Dominic Adia rose highest. He headed the ball. It was going in. The goalkeeper was beaten. The net was waiting. On the sidelines, Ibrahim Ayew had already started celebrating. In his mind, and in the minds of millions, the story was written. Ghana had done it. Africa had done it. "I thought we had won," Ayew later recalled. "I was warming up behind the goal, preparing to come on, and I ran onto the pitch celebrating because I was sure the ball had crossed the line. Ghana was going to be the first African team in a World Cup semi-final. But then, something wasn't right. The ball wasn't in the net. It bounced out. Not because of a miraculous save with the foot, not because of a heroic defensive header, but because of a hand. Luis Suarez, in a split-second instinct, had raised both arms like a goalkeeper and blocked the ball right on the goal line. It was blatant. It was undeniable. It was illegal. The referee, Olegario Benkerensa, didn't hesitate. Red card. Immediate. Suarez was sent off. Ghana was awarded a penalty. Justice, at least in the framework of the rules, had been delivered instantly. But football doesn't always follow theory. Ghana hadn't won yet. They weren't in the semi-finals, not yet. There was still one final step. From the penalty spot, Asamoah Gyan stepped forward. He wasn't just any player. He was Ghana's hero throughout the tournament. He had scored under pressure. He had delivered when it mattered. But this this was different. This wasn't just a penalty, this was a continent. We all believed in Asamoah, and he believed in himself, Ayew said. Stephen Appiah handed him the ball and said, "Score. Make Africa proud." The whistle blew. Gian stepped forward. He struck the ball firmly, powerfully, confidently. But the ball rose just a little too high. It crashed against the crossbar and bounced away. 1 second, just 1 second. Then the final whistle blew, and the world went silent. Gian stood there, hands on his head, unable to process what had just happened. Kwadwo Asamoah collapsed to his knees. Kevin Prince Boateng lay face down on the pitch. Across Ghana, across South Africa, across the entire continent, vuvuzelas stopped. Not because the match had ended, but because disbelief had taken over. On the other side, in the tunnel, Suarez, who had just been sent off, watched. And when the ball hit the crossbar and stayed out, he celebrated like Uruguay had scored. That image became one of the most controversial moments in football history. But here's where the story becomes complicated. Because this is not just about what happened. It's about how we feel about what happened. From Ghana's perspective, the pain is almost impossible to fully describe. It wasn't just defeat, it was something deeper. They had touched history, felt it within reach, and then had it ripped away in the cruelest way imaginable. A goal denied not by skill, not by brilliance, but by a deliberate handball, something that should never exist within the spirit of the game. That kind of pain isn't normal. It's frustration, it's injustice, it's that haunting feeling of, it should have been ours. But from Suarez's perspective, what did he actually do wrong? He broke the rules, yes, clearly, and he was punished immediately. A red card, a suspension, and a penalty awarded to the opponent. That's football law. There is no rule that says you cannot intentionally break the rules if you accept the consequences. Suarez didn't cheat the system, he violated it, and paid the price. In his autobiography, he wrote that as he walked off the pitch, he was devastated. He believed Uruguay were out. He even cried. But when Gian missed, he felt an overwhelming sense of relief. In that moment, he understood exactly what he had done. It wasn't beautiful, but it was necessary. It was sacrifice. He gave up his place in the semi-final so his team could have a chance to survive. That wasn't just instinct as a footballer. That was instinct as a competitor, as a fighter. Years later, Suarez still refused to apologize. He said it directly. "I didn't miss the penalty. That's not my fault." It sounds cold, harsh even, but logically, he isn't wrong. Diego Forlan once put it simply, the law was applied. Uruguay was punished. Ghana was given the chance. They didn't take it. End of story. So why does this moment still divide people? Because football is not just about rules. Football is about emotion. Ghana didn't just lose. They lost in a way that felt unfair, emotionally, if not legally. And then they saw Suarez celebrating, embodying the complete opposite of their heartbreak. A Ghanaian journalist once suggested that if Suarez had shown more empathy, things might have been different. But he didn't. He stood on the side of logic, while Ghana stood on the side of emotion. And that is where the real collision happens. The penalty shootout that followed only deepened the tragedy. Gian recovered and scored his kick, but John Mensah and Dominic Adir failed to convert. Fernando Muslera made the crucial saves. And then came Sebastian Abreu, a delicate Panenka, a cruel, almost poetic finish. Uruguay advanced. Ghana's dream was over. In Uruguay, Suarez was celebrated as a hero. Fans sang, "It wasn't the hand of God, it was the hand of Suarez." In Ghana, he became the villain. But maybe the truth lies somewhere in between. This isn't a story about good versus evil. It's a story about boundaries. The boundary between rules and morality, between instinct and ideals, between winning and what it feels like to be treated fairly. Ghana has every right to feel pain, but it's difficult to demand justice from a moment where justice at least within the rules, was already served. Suarez didn't take their chance away. He forced them to take it themselves, from 12 yards, and they couldn't. Some stories in football don't have perfect endings. They leave scars. The night in Johannesburg was one of those scars. A door was open, a hand closed it, and between those two moments stood an entire continent, frozen in silence.